So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute, man. So listen, let's go ahead and get this disclaimer out of the way real quick, right? I'm not here to question your beliefs. You know what I mean? What you believe in, I would never do that. I would never infringe on somebody's beliefs. I don't want nobody infringing on mine, and I give people the proper respect not to infringe on theirs. You know what I'm saying? This video here is simply to hear from those who have possibly or felt like or maybe even have seen the other side. You know what I mean? And then whether you believe in heaven or hell, that's another thing. But from them seeing that side of a hell perspective, I'm interested to hear, you know what I'm saying? Because you see so many depictions of what it could possibly be, if there is a possibility that it does exist, whatever, you know what I mean? So to hear those stories are intriguing to me. Plus, what's attached to those stories a lot of times is a traumatic event. You know, a person's near-death experience brought them to this place that they deem to be heaven or hell. You know what I mean? So this video here is the top 10 people who have seen hell. And I'm interested to hear, is it, you know, because for me, I come from a family who like, when they told you about this place, I felt like some of it was to scare the living daylights out of you. You know what I mean? I felt like it worked. Don't get me wrong, it worked, you know, but I want to see what people have possibly seen and lived to tell about. So we're gonna check this video out, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, man. If y'all not following me on IG, because I may, you know what I mean, we chilling right now, and I'm in this beautiful hotel with this beautiful view, bro. This view is just amazing right now. And I know y'all like, yo, El, why you recording and why you ain't, you know what I mean? I got time, and everybody's queen's working right now, so why not me come in here and kick it with y'all? She in there doing some work that she has to do. So while I got time to chill, come kick it with y'all. But follow me on IG, TMG, the number 4, LYFE. Follow me on IG, and I may post some pictures of the view. But anyway, let's get to the video, man. Here we go.
Amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host, Rebecca Felgate, and today I'm talking about the top 10 people who have seen hell. You guys seem to enjoy our top 10 people who have seen heaven. If you haven't seen it, there is a link to it right here.
So definitely we gotta check out that one next. We already know we gotta check out that one next to see that side of it too.
Many of you watched it and then requested the hell version, so burn baby burn, we are taking you there.
Why did I end up here first? Nah, like, why did they show me this one first?
Once again, I am approaching this video in the same way that I'd approach, say, a video about scary ghosts or the zombie apocalypse or ghouls or anything like that. Before we get started, I also just want to remind you guys to hit that thumbs up button if you like this kind of content. Also, if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, please do it now. Okay, hell, what is the crack? Starting off, this woman went to hell and saw Whitney Houston. We have Linda Nagorja at number 10. 28-year-old Linda died during a brief illness and went...
Why would you even say somebody's name? Because now you're making people think, I automatically think, wow, Whitney went to... That's foul. That's foul to even if I thought that, I wouldn't put that out there for people to think that about someone.
To hell, where she saw her parents burning in fire. Great. They weren't the only familiar faces she saw either. She also saw Colonel Gaddafi and Whitney Houston. She said that she was allowed to leave hell for a second chance at life, but was told that Muslims and Catholics would end up here if they didn't convert to Christianity, which doesn't really make any sense. Linda's story made her a celebrity in Sierra Leone, where two people stabbed one another over whether or not they thought her near-death experience was true. Sure. Coming into number 9, we have...
See, that's why I say I don't want to infringe on nobody's beliefs, bro. People take as they should, take their beliefs seriously, man. And when they feel like you're infringing or whatever on their belief, you see, Yeah, I just don't want to be in that type of spotlight.
Have a World War II soldier's version of hell. In 1943, George Ritchie woke from his hospital bed where he had medically died of pneumonia. This is when Jesus showed up and gave him a guided tour of the afterlife. He showed him that hell was, surprisingly, a bar. Lost souls grasped at drinks being swilled back by the living, but they couldn't have them. He then saw other corners of hell as perpetual brawls and aggressive, brutal sex. Blimey. Apparently he was awoken by a Holy Spirit who told him that he had 45 years to publish his testimony. It's a generous deadline if ever I heard of one. Coming into number 8, we have Robert Light. Robert Light uploaded a video to YouTube claiming that God had showed him heaven and hell in a dream. Watched 33,000 times, he describes the horrors of hell to the internet. He said, "What I saw was a dark place, a place of weeping, a place of gnashing of teeth, a place of regret, a place of pain, and a pleasant morning." He said there were a group of people who were there crying in anguish saying, "Oh, why didn't anyone warn us that living life after our own desires would end up here?" I'm not really sure what kind of feedback he was getting because he disabled the comments for the video. I'm thinking people didn't really like it. Coming into number 7, we have Redditor Zashiba. This contributor to Redditor says that her aunt relayed a horrifying near-death experience to her. She medically died during an operation and floated above the operating table. Absolute classic near-death experience stuff right there. However, instead of floating towards the bright light, she floated above what Zashiba called a very large chasm. Now this chasm was in the middle of a very bland field of dirt. The hole was deep and dark and she couldn't see to the bottom. Her aunt then relayed seeing a beautiful field of green grass but out of her reach. She then began being pulled down into the chasm. Now her niece says that a pair of hands reached out in the blackness and started pulling at her, ripping her flesh from her legs and her feet. Her aunt then said that she saw herself in hospital again and she was revived. Ugh. Coming into number 6, we have the account.
Bro, like, I'm fighting anything. Don't grab me. I'm fighting everything. Don't grab me, man. See, I can't even say.
Of Angie Fenimore. Angie has been very forthcoming with her story, sharing it with a number of national news outlets and using the experience to make real changes in her life. And
now, one thing we do have to keep in mind, right? And I'm not saying that's what this lady did, or I'm not saying that's what any of these people in this list did, but we also have to keep in mind of those who want the spotlight, right? Those who want the spotlight. So they're doing this to gain attention. They're doing this to gain, you know what I mean, views and clicks and saying this type of stuff. You know what I mean? So always keep that in mind too, man. Don't be taking what a lot of these, some of these people say. Take it with a grain of salt.
Angie attempted suicide in 1991 when she was 27 years old. She says that as she was slipping away, she was subjected to a life review. Again, absolutely classic near-death stuff. After her life review, she was surrounded by a cold darkness that seemed to go on forever. She was then in some kind of dark, open field surrounded by roaming lost souls. These were too sad to communicate with one another. Luckily, she came through it, and in the end, she wrote a book on her experience. She later became a life coach. I guess it goes to show, guys, you can be really, really low, but you can turn your life around. Hell is a burning cauldron, according to Dr. Rajiv Party at number 5. Even doctors can go to hell, it seems. Dr. Party was the chief anaesthetist at Bakersfield Heart Hospital in California. Unfortunately, he himself needed life-saving surgery from septic shock. During his surgery, he said he floated out of his body and felt a jolt of pure fear. He said that he heard screams of pain and anguish as he looked into a flaming canyon filled with burning flesh. He said a voice spoke to him, telling him he had lived a materialistic and selfish life and that he had lost all empathy. He was then given a second chance by angels who told him that he was destined to be a healer. He was then given his second chance and he turned everything around. I don't like this. Matthew Botsford describes flesh-eating demons at number 4. Great. Matthew was attending a business convention in Atlanta in 2013 when he was shot with an Uzi submachine gun. Matthew was involved in a random attack as an
Wait a minute, you was attending what? And you got hit with a...
At number 4. Great. Matthew was attending a business convention in Atlanta.
What business convention ended in a shootout with you getting hit by a Uzi, bro? I ain't never been to no business conventions where I had to worry about stuff like that happening. Which is crazy as I say that and I'm in this hotel, all I hear is sirens going right now. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence.
Atlanta in 2013 when he was shot with an Uzi submachine gun. Matthew was involved in a random attack as an angry man sprayed shots onto the pavement. He described the pain of the bullet as like a needle in the head. However, that is nothing compared with what was to come next. Matthew said, "Immediately I shifted from the temporal realm I lived in to the eternal realm of hell." Aged just 28 at the time, Matthew spent 27 days in an induced coma. During this time, he was shackled over a glowing red abyss. He said there were four-legged creatures roaming in agony and screams of lost souls pierced the air. The red abyss rose to become visible magma which burned his limbs off one by one, although they kept on growing back and then being burned off again. Ugh. He also said demons with sharp teeth ripped into his flesh. Luckily, what he describes as the hand of God brought him back. From that day, he has a renewed belief in God. Now sadly, Matthew's friend and business associate wasn't so lucky. He died on the spot right there on the pavement. So he didn't go to hell. From flesh eating to flesh terror.
Like, I hate to be that guy, right? But I gotta ask the questions. If it pop in my mind, I gotta ask. You know what I mean? And again, it's not nothing to any of what these people are saying they go through. Who's to say it's not like a dream? When you go into like some of these comas and stuff like that, and it's not you actually being in heaven and hell. Who's to say it's not a dream? You know? What if it was a dream based upon maybe the last movie that you watched that day? You know what I'm saying? We all know how we watch something, then go to sleep, and our dream be based on something that we watched or something that happened to us, or you know what I mean? So who's to say that's not what it is? Just playing devil's advocate, just asking a question. It popped into my mind. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist or none of that. Just asking. Y'all let me know.
Great! We are talking about Howard Storm's experience at number 3. In 1985, Howard was professor of art at Northern Kentucky University. Like a lot of people, he used anger as a coping mechanism and never really thought about trying to better himself. On the evening of June 1st, Howard very nearly died aged 38 as a result of a perforation of the stomach. He slipped into unconsciousness and saw figures beckoning him into a haze. He followed them and they pretended to be kind to him. They then urged him to stay with them. Now eventually the figures got very aggressive, verbally and physically. The shadowy figures taunted him and eventually began to claw and bite him. The whole situation culminated in him being eaten alive. Luckily, Howard awoke and felt a renewed love of Jesus. Coming into number 2, we have Vasula Ryden. Vasula believes that both God and the devil speak to her and use her as some kind of vessel. Good. Now it first happened in 1985, which seems to be an important year for big hell reveals. She said that she was writing a grocery list when an angel came and embodied her. This angel then showed her visions of both heaven and hell. Now she says that sometimes the devil possesses her and uses her hands to write. She also claimed that the devil showed her visions of the destruction of the World Trade Centers in 2001 and it looked a lot like hell. Are there any more celebrities in hell? You betcha! Our number 1 saw a few.
See, I like how a lot of times it comes and it forces people to reevaluate like some of the things that they might have done that have been deemed bad, or you know what I'm saying, just mean or foul to people, and it causes them to reflect and change and turn their life around for good. Like, I like that aspect of it, you know what I mean? I hate you have to go through what you go through to get to that point, but to see people say, listen, it changed me, it made me, you know, care about others more. It made me stop being so self-centered more. It made me start doing this more. I like that fact of it. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what it takes for you to get, then hey, you know what I mean? So
few shocking hell residents that you might recognize. That's right, coming into number 1, we have Angelica Elizabeth Zambrano Mora. Yes, that is her full name, but let's just go with Angelica for short. Angelica was 18 when she died for 23 hours. She said that Jesus showed her hell where she saw people on fire begging for mercy. Who else did she run into? Firstly, Michael Jackson. Why was he there? Well, apparently he replicated demons in his dance.
Stop putting people's names in it, man. Now I gotta look at what I grew up off Michael Jackson, man. And yes, I knew some of the stuff because I know people are gonna put in the comment section about, you know, what he was on trial for. Yes, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying I just grew up off the dancing and the music of Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of want to hold on to the good. So when you hear stuff like that, it kind of Yeah, it messes me up, man. You ain't gotta add the names.
Michael Jackson. Why was he there? Well, apparently he replicated demons in his dance moves. Jesus alleged that he had actually made a deal with the devil for fame and fortune. Who else was there? Well, none other than Pope John Paul II. Why? Jesus said that he liked money more than the truth, which, I mean, maybe that is the truth. It seems that Angelica thinks that Jesus took her there to tell the world that hell is real, but who knows? So guys, that was the top 10 people who have seen hell. Once again, I'm not religious, so while these stories are scary, to me they're
So, that was the end of the video, but I just don't like that, man. I don't like you adding a name to it, man. You know what I mean? Like, really? Did Mike sell his soul to the devil for dance moves? You gonna say that? And you say, I mean, now it kind of looks like you're putting your beliefs and your feelings about somebody onto others. You know what I mean? You're trying to say that to portray this person was bad, you're telling them he did this or he did that. You know what I mean? I've always been of the belief to let people formulate their own opinion about other people. I should not be trying to project my views of how I feel about a person onto you. No, you have the right to make your own judgment. My own issues with somebody is my issues. It isn't yours. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be yours. You should formulate your own opinion about people. So on that aspect, I just don't like doing that. I don't. I'm not that type of person. But anyway, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think, man. The top 10 people who have seen hell. Have you ever had a near-death experience to where it took you somewhere towards a light or maybe somewhere dark and you saw souls or something like that? Put it in the comment section, man. What did you feel? What did you experience? How did it change you? What was your outlook after that? You know, how did that traumatic experience change your life? Let us know in the comment section, man. All right, and stick around and stay tuned to the next reaction. We gone. Peace.